Hello, welcome to Aerial Solutions. We're here to present to you what we did during the Go Venture CEO simulation. I am Grant Black.
I am Carlos Gonzalez Mendez.
I'm Lee Ostergorn.
First, we'd like to talk about our mission statement. One of the most important things about a company is what their plans and goals are going into the future. So our mission statement goes as follows. We want to produce high-quality, efficient, and sustainable drones while raising the bar in corporate ethics and customer loyalty/dependability, all at an affordable price point.
All right, so our marketing plan, this is one of the first things we put together as a group. We wanted to point heavily on our brand awareness and customer loyalty. We know that there's inflation in the future somewhere, and we know how equity really helps you in that situation. We are going to put in $6 million to start off on sales promotion in India, which is where we're kickstarting our company. And like I said before, we want to build a strong brand, get our name out there.
Moving on, we're going to go to research and development. Our business model is driven off of being leaders in R&D. In order to separate ourselves really from the other companies that exist, we want to differentiate our product and really say, hey, we have the best drone for the most affordable price point. Doing this over time, we increased our speed by 25%, spending about $500,000 per period. We increased our battery life by $500,000 by 25% at $500,000 a period, and we increased our camera because we felt that was extremely important to 50% at a cost of $1 million per period. Then we moved this overall increased our production costs by 50 euros per unit with a retail margin of about 25%, meaning that we on average made 563 rupees per unit given the course of the simulation. And we produced 73,000 units and sold 59,000 units at 750 rupees during period one.
Okay, so for our human resources, we learned from our poor HR scores in the practice rounds, and this was an area of our focus for our first year. So we invested a lot of money into our training and health-based benefits, and we figured that would help us keep our employees happy. And we gathered information on which benefits were preferred as well through the HR report. And we had moderate to high spending on our benefits as well in order to limit our employee turnover costs. And overall, we spent about 10 million rupees on our salaries, and we spent 90,000 rupees on training and 2 million on our benefits.
And that has been year one for Aerial Solutions.
Moving on to year two. Here we kind of learned from our mistakes a little bit. We had a little bit of a learning curve with the simulation. So for period two, we decided we were going to go ahead and produce 100,000 units. We only sold a little bit over 88,000. This left us with about 25,000 left in storage. That's accumulated from also the previous period. Our overall revenue through the first two periods was 66 million rupees, which is kind of above not everybody, but majority of the market. The only problem is our expenditures, mainly in human resources, was 71 million rupees through the first two periods combined. This leaves us with overall loss for this period of 4.7 million rupees. One thing that we did have is 100% brand awareness.
Moving on, we're going to talk about the next steps we wanted to take moving forward. The biggest one was maximizing our units sold to better reflect our units produced. We seem to have a problem where we overproduce our units, so we really wanted to fix that and better keep that narrow margin consistent so we are on top of how many units we sell and produce. Next, we wanted to put money into product sales, specifically promoting our product to the customers to purchase it, in hopes to pushing these unit sales so we can talk about again, going back to the first goal, making sure that our units produced and units sold are about equal. Continuing, we wanted to lead forward with brand sales going forward. We think it was extremely important that we got brand sales at 100%, number one for the first period, and we wanted to keep doing that.
Okay, so for year 3, our sales and our units produced was at 120,000 units, and we sold 104,000 units, and we had about 40,000 units left in storage. And that goes on to our profit loss, which our overall revenue was 105.5 million rupees, and our overall expenditures were 117 rupees, and our profit was 11 million rupees. And we still had 100% brand awareness in India.
All right, so after having 3 periods now with net losses, we decided we were going to be redesigning the company. Not entirely. We were just going to be taking a look at how we work together as a team and how we can utilize each other's different assets and kind of curb the weaknesses. This was a reactive change. We decided to take it into 5 steps. We wanted to develop goals, commit to them, kind of light a fire under our bellies and kind of create a sense of urgency. We started with a clean slate. Not that there were any issues. It's just we knew that when redesigning a company, you want to be able to start off new. And we also wanted to optimize our top-down and bottom-up thinking. I think we were too set on one way. So look forward to period 4.
So going to period 4, we produced 75,000 units and we sold 102,000 units. The reason for this gap, obviously, is we had so many leftover units. But luckily, since we were able to sell almost 35,000 of the units we had in our storage, we reduced the units we had previously in storage from last year to about 12,000 units in storage. Our profit loss was about 145 million rupees compared to 158 million rupees. So didn't do too hot there, but we're working on it. And then our profit level, again, continued with the negative 13 million rupees. And really, one of the really good things is that, again, we got 100% brand awareness in India. We kept this going, and we want to continue keeping it.
Okay, so for the next steps, we want to continue to strive and sell units without leaving leftover units. And we want to make sure we increase our brand loyalty. And we also want to continue to compete with competitors and improve our products with R&D.
So that leads us over to year 5. Here we try to narrow down on how much we were producing. We did not want to pay that charge with expiring units. So we produced 70,000 units. This period we underestimated and we actually ended up selling 82,000 units. This brought our units in storage down to a little bit over 600 units, which was a good sign to us. Here we started seeing a little bit of a turn. We had overall revenue for all the periods up to here at 180 million rupees. Expenditures 185 million rupees. So we're kind of chopping down at that net loss, starting to head towards the black, and we are very confident that our 100% brand awareness through all periods is going to be a leader in that charge.
So moving on to our next steps, we're currently preparing for inflation going forward. This is really important. Without proper preparation, we could really get screwed over even more than we kind of already were. To do this, we really have been increasing our price slowly. The goal by this is that we don't have to suddenly increase our price once inflation has occurred, because customers are going to be more likely to retaliate, to clash back, which overall can cause problems and won't work well for us. We plan on building a surplus of drones to have in our inventory. This way, when the unit production cost raises, we'll already have those drones ready. We estimated that it would be cheaper to do this than it would be to keep the. It's cheaper to do that, considering the fact that we also have to pay for storing them. We considered we considered that price, and we felt that this was the best possible outcome. And then we thought about taking out a line of debt at a fixed rate in hopes to increase product R&D and pay the debt back with a cheaper dollar going forward. Moving on to year 6.
All right, so for year 6, we produced 90,000 units, and we sold 83, just under 84,000 of those units, and we had about 6,500 left in storage. And for our overall revenue, we had 215 million rupees, and our expenditures were at 216 rupees, and our total profit was at negative 770,000 rupees, and we still have 100% brand awareness in India.
So, getting closer to breaking even, our next steps are to charge forward. We want to cut costs in any area, really. Narrow down on human resources and marketing a little bit. R&D maybe something we'll take a look at. Marketing will still be a priority. It's just a matter of what percentage of the revenue we're spending on marketing and how beneficial it is. Like I said before, human resource costs, that's something that's been kind of nagging at us since year 1. And the overall objective is just to maintain making these profit levels. We can't afford any slip up of losing the rate of return or going back into losing money.
Okay, so going into year 7, inflation's biggest problem with the 15% decrease in the market, and we plan to adjust units produced to reflect this decrease so we don't too many leftover units. And our goal is to produce the exact amount of units we need going into this year, and we also plan on selling units at the current price because we've already increased it over the past few periods, and this is to account for the production price increase.
All right, so dealing with that 15% kind of market decrease, we decided we're going to keep our production around the same, a little bit less. We didn't see that much of a market decrease really to affect us with high brand equity. We produced 62,000 units. We sold 65, which bit into our inventory, which is good. So our overall revenue to date, 243 million rupees. Expenditures are 240 million rupees, leaving us in the positive almost 4 million rupees. And yet again, we had 100% brand equity.
Moving on to year 8, it's important to talk about the inflation that occurred. The market crashed and it contracted over 50%. Demand was down. To really deal with this, we decreased our units sold to account for this market contraction. The goal, again, is to produce how many units we were predicting to sell. During this period in particular, our goal was not to necessarily make a ton of money, but to not lose money. We wanted to lose no money. We wanted to make sure that we could at least stay somewhat positive, and that we could keep track of our expenditures going forward, especially because we know this has been a problem in the past, continuing that. Also really important to note, we had to let go a significant number of employees to deal with these high levels of inflation. As much as it sucks, that's kind of what we have to do to stay profitable at any way, shape, or level during this period.
Okay, so moving on to our sales, we produced 25,000 units. We sold 28,000 units, leaving our storage empty, which is really good during this time. And our overall profit loss, starting out at our total overall revenue, we had 255 million rupees, and we had overall expenditure of 252 million rupees, and that left us with a profit of 170,000 rupees, and we still kept our 100% brand awareness.
So moving forward after this hyperinflation, we realize we need to find somewhere we can invest our money, get the best advantage. For this, we are looking into market research reports, trying to get that step ahead so we put our money in the right place. Going along with that, marketing is still our priority. With such high brand equity, we feel like that one good marketing campaign can really put us over the top. We also want to keep monitoring HR, not just because we struggled so much with it in early periods, but we know how after inflation, hiring too many employees when demand is not high enough can really hurt us. So then again, the overall objective as a common occurrence through all the periods has been to get a better control of the market, all in order to maximize our profits.
Moving to year 9, we're going to discuss inflation. Again, we entered a recovery stage, which was nice, but there's still some market demand that hasn't been fully met yet. So with the increased market boost of 18%, we had about a 34% down in demand. But we plan to take the 18% boost and multiply it by our products sold from last period, and then you want to sell that many products this period in order to keep with how much we should be selling, maximize on the profit that we can get with this recovery period. And the goal is ultimately to produce a lot of products that can be sold. Last period, we had noticed that we had missed some unit sales, so we increased it a little bit on how much we were selling to estimate that we might have to deal with that more. And then we actually decided that we wanted to decrease the price of the product to gain more sales, and more importantly, to gain more control of the market. This is a period where customers are more interested in buying products, so we wanted to, get our product in a position where people really wanted to buy it. Really good product, good price. We could get a lot of control going into the next period.
Okay, so we produced 45,000 units this period, and we sold 45,000 units, and that left us with 0 product in storage, which is another good thing for us this period. And our overall revenue was 273 million rupees, just under 274. And our overall expenditures were 266 million rupees, and that left us with a profit of 5 million rupees. And we also maintain 100% brand awareness in India.
All right, so the next step going into our last period will be to make as much profit as we can. We want to cut down on spending for employees as it is the end of our simulation, but we are still trying to keep an eye on that HR score. That's something that we held really close to us, being around the top. As I said before, around 65 to 70% throughout all 9 periods up to today. We want to keep our marketing low as always, and again, just making profit.
With the end of the inflationary period, the market had fully recovered. We really plan to increase our products to maximize this inflation ending. We see this opportunity to make a lot of money and really to make as much profit as we can during these final times in the simulation. And that's really important because, we don't have any more opportunities to make money. And we really need to catch up considering how we lost a lot of money in the beginning of the simulation. our goal is to not to miss any sales. We wanted to hit every sale. We set out with this expectation that we wanted to make every sale, and that even if we had some units in inventory, that was less of a priority, less of a concern.
Okay, so for this period, we produced 100,000 units, sold 100,000 units, leaving us again with 0 units in storage. Our overall revenue was 315 million rupees and just under 316 million. And our overall expenditures were 289 million rupees, and our profit was 19 million rupees, and we had 100% brand awareness in India again.
All right, so now we're heading into the conclusion of the simulation. Overall, we did finish in 11th out of 12 companies. We do feel that in those latter periods that we were competing with the best companies there, taking big chunks of the market share. We generated a little bit under 316 million rupees with an overall profit through all 10 periods of 27 million rupees. Again, we had the highest standard of ethics of any other company, highest brand equity in India throughout the entire simulation. We never went negative during inflation, which is just a personal win for us, knowing how those contractions in the market can really cripple a company. We worked efficiently as a team, and we always corrected mistakes that we made. That's something that we took a lot of pride in.
Although Aerial Solutions as a company performed not great at all, really, we had hopes for better. We honestly felt that we learned a lot. And even though we might not have performed as well as any of the other companies, and although we might have gotten 11th place, we're positive that if we did the simulation again, we would be on the top. Because we learned through our mistakes, and we made sure to really recognize what we did wrong and to truly understand how we could capitalize on the mistakes we made to best prepare ourselves for the future. Which is why, although technically we did not have the greatest profit, I feel that we learned the most about the simulation, and we learned the most about running a company more than any other team out there. Our work time and work efficiency was phenomenal. We all communicated really well. There was no internal fighting or internal stress that you see in a lot of the other teams that had to do this simulation. Overall, we created a great culture and atmosphere for our group that worked really well. And I think that's something really important, considering that a huge part of a company's success is the culture that you create and the ability to communicate with the people you work with. And I think that's important to keep in mind going forward. Aerial Solutions might not have made the most profit, but it made us learn the most, and it made us connect the most going forward.